So your grandmother knew, your best friend knew, your sister. By then,
yes.
Yeah, by then your sister knew, and then when you come back from New York, everyone knew. Then your parents find out. They were supportive.
Yes,
very supportive.
Extremely,
and I think that has a lot to do with sort of perhaps how people navigate this. So even if the outside world is cruel or says things or does things, as long as you don't lose your family or those closest to you, you have that core. Then you feel like you can almost handle anything.
Absolutely,
correct?
It was very hard. Of course, people are contacting my parents. You know what's going on with Chase.
How did they respond to them, to other? Because I'm sure even with that, it could have been hard on them.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people are judging them because perhaps they did something to make you that way.
Right.
Okay,
right.
that's sometimes what parents think.
As far as
or people tell you that. Trust me.
Right.
I have yeah. I have my own story on that one. Yeah.
So, but my parents, they backed me up 100%. I was very open with them about it. Carly
Carly, who was your sister?
Right. Carly called a lot of the tail end of it in high school.
She's younger, correct?
She is younger than me.
So people are like, oh, and that was sort of even maybe back in the mid 2000s. That was still perhaps kind of like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got the gay brother. So perhaps so now you might be different, Carly, because your brother's gay.
Right. Well, I mean, she 100% backed me up.
Of course she did, but
not
people
take
still.
She didn't take any slack from anybody, and
Good for her.
she did what she had to do. But since we're talking about high school,
yeah, let's talk a little bit about.
High school was different. I'd heard a lot about high school. It's going to be the best year of your life, and I can't say that it was.
And that's when it really the hurting began.
Right. It was tough. I mean, walking down the hallway during changing classes, and you hear people calling names from the other end of the hallway.
So you're walking down the hall, as you said, it's mainly guys, and I hate to say I assume that, but sadly enough, a lot of times it's the fear factor that perhaps you may get it on them or whatever.
Right, and I mean, and that's just what it is.
Because we're all guys together, and we all want to be manly together, and we can't have a gay friend because somebody might think you're doing something wrong.
Right.
You have to have the girlfriend, the girl who's your best friend. Because if you have a guy best friend and you're gay, they may think that you're gay as a straight guy.
Right.
So is that sort of
a
lot?
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm not going to say.
And you probably don't even. That's what they also don't understand. We talked about earlier. You don't want every guy you see.
Right. Right. So, but the thing is, though, it's not all guys. It was never everybody in my class.
Okay, so it was just a select few.
Just a handful of people.
But it was enough to make it hell.
Absolutely, absolutely. When it finally got to the point to where I just could not take it anymore. So
you go to school, which is supposed to be, as you said, this great time of life. Of your life. You're a teenager. You're going to be having fun. You feel good inside about who you are, a young gay man, and you go there and you just continue to get taunted. And did you ever tell anyone, or did you feel like back then there was not really the anti-bullying back then, or not really like, hey, you shouldn't say that to somebody?
It was more of, oh, I can't do anything about that. And that's hard for me to understand as a person because...
Oh, so when you tell the authorities or tell someone, or like an adult, you're like, I'm sorry, you can't... Oh, my stars.
And
that's awful.
Right. And you think, you have your teachers and your people of authority that can make this better for you, can help you through this. And don't get me wrong, I had a ton of teachers that were there for me no matter what. I mean,
but they just didn't feel like that was in their hula hoop.
Right. So, I mean, it just got to the point to where I quit.
You quit school.
I did. I quit
What grade
school.
were you in when you quit?
It was the second semester of my junior year.
So you endured this 9th grade, 10th grade, and finally then, was it just, did you just go home and hurt? Did it just hurt?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think about it now when it's like, man, I had 1 year left.
Yeah. And then you think, could I have endured it? But obviously, and I know what a strong young man you are.
Right.
But where you were, in your life I just can't take this anymore? Besides, I mean, was it anything physical, or just
Oh,
mainly,
no.
it was just mainly just the mental taunting?
It was never physical.
Yeah. Like nobody like beating you up or what, which
Right.
is okay.
No,
That's
no.
great. Okay, but they did just sort of that, like you said, though, you just didn't feel like you did. You just totally feel like you're a pariah, like
Yeah.
like ugh, something. That's so hurtful. If you think about any of us who have ever had, anything, or if your family, if you've gone through any, or if you think, well, I've done this, or even or this is who I am, or
Right.
even like for me, doing, these types of shows and these types of interviews, as I said, I actually had gotten a private Facebook message this morning from a gentleman. He was very kind. I know he meant well, but was reading me all this, citing all these biblical things, and that's fine, but you don't cross my boundary, because I
Right.
am so comfortable
Right.
with my faith and what my faith believes. And if you tell me I'm wrong and it's all of the devil, then that's fine. It doesn't even bother me.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't even bother me, because, I just, and it's not even me. Someone would think thumbing your nose at whatever. I'm not. I cannot take anything out of context anymore. Or
Right.
like I said, it doesn't even. But it used to think, well, what is, what if this person think? Here's the thing. Someone think I'm trying to be controversial because I'm talking about someone's rights, my kid's rights.
Right.
Like, that's not controversial. I mean, why can't I, expect my child gets the same respect? Because there wasn't a time, it wasn't too long ago in the recent history where people would lose their jobs.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's don't ask, don't tell, lose their jobs because of this. And I'm talking, couldn't get a security clearance, just all these things.
Right.
Because, I mean, the fact that, you couldn't be a teacher. If you're a male, gay male teacher, you might be a
Right.
predator, which is as something else we talked about, and I don't have the statistics. I do have a psychiatrist, or a psychologist, like the statistics of, whether it's, suicide, or
Right.
those who've had to, whether they have to, hide it for whatever reason, or the statistics of, there's not I think there, in my opinion, just from what I have, as a layperson just reading, those who are predators are
Right.
not normally gay people.
Right.
It's usually, and I won't even say who it usually is,
Right.
because I don't even want to get into that controversy.